I'm a local girl. I was born in Cottage Hospital in Urmston, and I was brought up on the Canterbury Road estate. I lived at home with my mum and dad and my older brother. I've been a Christian all my life. My mum used to take my brother and I to Sunday school at Christ Church, the Mission Church, which was off one of the roads of Canterbury Road. In the morning we would all go there. In the afternoon I get on a minibus with my friends from up the road and go to a mission church in Stretford on Elm Grove. This was great fun at the mission church, and the best thing about it was they had a summer camp, and I would go off at the age of about 10 with my friends and no mum and dad and stay at camps up in Scotland. We'd stay in dormitories, we'd learn about God and Jesus and worship and be with other girls and boys from across the northwest. It was truly magnificent. When I left school at 16, I went to become a cadet nurse at Park Hospital in Davyhulme because my best friend wanted to be a nurse. When I told my mum this, she said, "You won't last a week." However, many years later, I was still nursing. I trained at Park Hospital and then moved on and worked at various hospitals throughout Manchester, gaining on the way a nursing degree and a master's degree in ethics. My very last post was at Wythenshawe Hospital, where I was the bereavement nurse for many years, which was a truly wonderful job. From a worship point of view, once I started my nurse training, I actually moved away from the church. I was working shifts, studying, and somehow in my life I lost touch with God. But when I qualified as a staff nurse, I found God again, or really He found me. I then remained always a disciple of Jesus. At the age of 20, I started to look for a new church to worship at and came across St Mary the Virgin in Davyhulme and started to go there. It was only some months later, when I was talking to my mum about it, that I realised that my mum and dad were actually married at that church and had a strong connection to it. So I carried on worshipping at St Mary's and working and living the life that I thought God wanted me to do. When I became a bereavement nurse, I began to question much more my pathway of faith. I began to think that God wanted more from me. So like most people, I became a sides person, wrote and read intercessions, and actually then became a Eucharistic assistant. But I knew God wanted more from me. And it was only when talking to two other parishioners one day that they said to me, "Well, why don't you train for the ministry?" I never thought I would. I never thought I could. I always thought I was too old and it just wasn't what I should do. And I wrestled with this for quite a long time. For over a year, I actually wrestled very hard with it. And then a number of things came together one day in December, and I realised that this is actually where God was calling me to be. I then applied for my ministry training and was accepted to my great surprise, and then underwent 2 years of training. During this time I carried on worshipping, growing in faith and growing in helping the faith of other people, until I was actually ordained a deacon. Once working as a deacon at St Mary the Virgin, I actually began to consider that God wanted more from me, and I began to talk to people about where that would be or what He really wanted from me. When I became a priest, I really knew that God definitely wanted to draw me further afield and take my life somewhere else. Where that would be, I did not know, but I asked people to pray for me and help guide me in this journey. And then eventually, at the beginning of 2020, I was asked to consider taking up the post at St John's, Flixton. I began to explore this with the Archdeacon, but then unfortunately we went into lockdown and everything stopped. But then at the end of last year, 2020, a phone call came, and then, well, here I am to tell the tale. So yes, I've been a Christian all my life, and I've been really lucky in that other people have helped to guide me and support me and point things out to me when I wasn't quite always listening to where God wanted me to be. So here I am today, and I want to help other people come to faith, and I want to help all those people who are already in touch with faith to grow in their own discipleship and roles. And that's the vision I see in my role now here at St John's in Flixton. So that's me, the Reverend Debra. If I can do anything to help, or you're interested in anything I've said, please do get in touch. We are all God's children, and we are here together to follow Jesus' pathway. Amen.